Hello. Welcome to the Wool Room. I'm Tiana. I'm going to lay back today because I'm feeling really jittery. I'm feeling a little jittery. I'm feeling like I have a lot of ideas running through my brain, and I'm not going to lie, I'm going to keep it pretty honest. I'm a little nervous to make this video. I have so many ideas breeding up in my brain that I want to pour out. And I realize a lot of them are what's the right word? They relate to each other. They cross relational. And it could be really easy for this to become a mess. And so if you watched my last video, you know that I don't want to come to these feeling like I have to be super prepared. But I realize there is a line to this. There's a line for everything. You'll probably hear me reference a line all the time because there's a line for literally everything. I think that I'm probably going to get a line tattooed on myself. There's some things I want to talk about that I feel like require a little bit of thought. And since I exist so heavily up here, I needed to write them down. So the most prepared I got was chicken scratch, which I'll show you a little bit of. Let me open my journal here. I wrote a few things down, yeah. I guess yeah, here it is. I wrote a few things down in that one and in my Hobonichi. And so anywho, today I'm going to talk to you about um I'm going to talk to you about cultivating a sacred space and how I think doing that is a craft. So, yeah, something I'm super passionate about is interior design or interior styling, whatever you would call that. And in the past, I think I said in my last video, but if you're new here, I will say it again for you. In the past, I haven't been able to do that. I feel like the place I lived or the places I lived felt like I couldn't do anything in, being a renter or just feeling like I was going to move again. And this year, or also specifically this place, when I moved into this place specifically, I feel like that has changed. And I want to share a little bit about what that looks like for me and some takeaways that hopefully you can get from this video that allow you to, one, take inspiration without having to spend money. Taking inspiration without having to spend money, I think, is liquid gold these days, because most of the time inspiration or influence costs you money, and I want this to be $0 for you. I want you to sit back and enjoy. If I say something throughout this, please engage. If you have a thought piece that aligns or even doesn't align, throw it in there. I want to hear it. Let's talk about it. Um, Anywho, I want to show you what that looks like and some key takeaways for how you can also create intentionally and low cost a sacred space for yourself, and how that makes you a crafter, and how that could be an entryway into you pursuing other crafts. So yeah, first things first. Um, Maybe that's not first things first because I've already said stuff. Uh, I just wanted to thank everyone for the engagement in my last video. Part of maybe why I'm nervous to make this video is because that one had such a great response, and I already feel like I have my own expectation I'm like trying to live up to. And so to know that people really resonated with what I said, gave me a little bit of a scare. But it makes me super happy, and I'm really thankful that you came across my video. If you're new to this one, I'm really glad you're here. And a lot of people said it was refreshing, and that makes my heart want to explode a little because it's very kind. Um, yeah. So thank you. Hopefully you're here again. And if you're here from that last video, I see you. I see you. Thank you for being here. Anywho, let's start. Let's talk about it. Sacred space. First of all, what does a sacred space mean to me? I said this before, but sacred space to me means a place where I want to enjoy my rent. I don't know if that's disgusting for some of y'all to think. I feel like that is a great way to define a sacred space because in this day and age, I would say that a lot of people feel out of place in their own home. And that is because of my own experience in that same feeling. I feel like most of the places I have lived in before, I have felt extremely out of place in, despite some of them being wonderful. I love some of the places I was in, but oftentimes I realized that I wasn't honoring the things that I wanted in my own space that made me feel inspired and also made me feel like I was comfortable where I was at. And in turn, that also made me feel like I needed to be out of the house more and finding something to do with my time, which also costed me money, costed me gas to get places. And also, I wasn't taking up my rent. Like, out of all of the things you pay for, please, you cannot tell me, even if it's a mortgage, if you have a mortgage, good luck for you. I'm proud of you for having some land. I don't have one of those, but I have a rent. And that cost me a lot of money every month. And so to not feel at place at home feels like a waste of that money. And so, yeah, I'm putting it in simple terms to say that sacred space to me feels like a place where you enjoy your rent. That's what it means to me. You can take that if you want. If not, you can define it in your own way, and that might be homework for you. Or also leave it in the comments. What does a sacred space mean to you? Like, what does a sacred space look like for you? And if you don't have that yet, that's okay. You can still tell me what a sacred space means to you because that is what this video is going to be. We're going to discuss that. Um yeah, so let's flip this. I have brain fog. Sorry, I like went into another thought. Um, Anywho, um, 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 um. So, flipping it for me as an artist, I realized part in thanks to my friend Madeline who inspires me, and her home, the way she always does her living space also has always inspired me, and I very much appreciate her. So I'm lucky I get to share a space with her now because in part she has influenced my thought process and has helped me in a way. So yeah, as an artist, I feel like when I think about creating a sacred space, it is a craft. It is a craft. It requires a lot of intentionality. It requires a lot of thought. And if you want to feel at home in your own place, I think it also requires you to spend some time thinking about what specifically to you and not, yeah, specifically to you, what inspires you to be around and what it is that a sacred space means. So, for me, again, that means paying my rent or having to enjoy my rent. Sacred space means enjoying my rent. I want to be inspired in the little corners of my home. That is what it feels like to me. And so I think maybe what I will do now is just tell you a little bit about how, in this specific place, I am actively crafting my sacred space. First and foremost, within the first probably month and a half of being in this house, Madeline and I, God, we are an epic team. Let me just start there. We are an absolutely iconic team. Don't, I'm just saying, don't, don't ask to challenge us. Don't ask to challenge us because we'll get it done like seamlessly. It's absolutely insane. Within the first month, a month and a half of being here, we had, I'm pretty sure, almost every single box completely unpacked, almost all of the art, at least all the way through the living space, other than our living, like our bedrooms, all the way weren't all the way done. But within the first month and a half, we had pretty much everything set up where it needed to be: the tables, the chairs, the coffee table. We very lucky. We were able to go to some estate sales where I live. We were able to find some really affordable and accessible pieces at these estate sales that made our home like our two interior styles like merge together. And so that is the first thing I think that I did was fighting the old Tiana and partially influenced by Madeline. I hung things up immediately. Oh my god. Take this if this is one thing you take from here. Hang it up, baby. Just hang it up. Hang it up, put it on the wall. Doesn't matter where it goes, you can move it later. I shit you not. I kid you not. I kid you not. Hanging it up, it seems like a challenge. If you are like me in the past, I found hanging stuff up to be a challenge because I was like, it's got to be like perfectly aligned. If I don't do it this way, it's not going to look right and I don't want to have to move it again. Don't do that. Just hang it up. Put it somewhere. Get the ball rolling. Even if it's one piece, like put one big piece somewhere and just start putting things. Whether that's furniture, a piece of art. So, anyhow, back on track. That is one of the things that I feel like I am doing to intentionally craft my sacred space. I am just hanging stuff up. I am fighting old Tiana and putting up things wherever it goes. And if it's going to move later, it's going to move. Um, the second thing I am doing to craft an intentional space is actively crafting in my space. And I think this is probably like two things that join together is crafting in my space, literally like with like textiles and whatever it be, coloring, drawing, painting, weaving, spinning. That along with coupled with creating a space for my craft. So, um yeah, something else that we also really prioritized in this space was finding a way to make our own nooks for whatever our passions were. Um, and so, for instance, I have my own section of this home that is dedicated specifically to my crafting stuff. I have my own little table. I have my sewing machine out, or if it's my loom, it's my loom. My spinning wheel is out. I've got fabric sitting over there. It's honestly a mess. If you can think about any crafting space that's not organized, it's probably mine. But it's my organized mess. So I love it. But at the end of the day, what I feel like how that honors a sacred space for me is I'm really drawn into that space. I get to go sit down and even if it's one little pass through on my loom, I can do that. And I see it actively. It immediately I'm inspired. Whether or not it's the craft at hand that's currently in progress, but I also just think it constantly inspires me to see a craft happening. And it's like an active craft, one that I can see is like in process. And so I'm doing that, but I'm also crafting things for the home. For instance, right now I'm working on some tapestries, and granted, I think these ones, I don't know if they're going to necessarily go into our home, but the first thing I thought of was where could this go at home? And my home kind of inspires the craft that I'm working on. So, yeah, we also have, and maybe I'll put a little picture of it up here. There's a little spot. Um, so our living room, this is Yap City. We're making a little jump. Some context. Me and Madeline have made our living room a gallery wall. We have a gallery wall behind our couch and honestly throughout the rest of the living space. But behind the couch specifically is this large gallery wall. And we have this little spot right above the couch where our heads like end up resting on that we're trying to figure out what to put there. And I think we've decided that a tapestry would be a great piece to put there. It's really long. Again, hope I'm going to try to put a picture in there. And so, yeah, that oh my God, I weave. I can make a tapestry to go there. Two things that require me to be at home and enjoying my space and crafting. I'm sitting here. I'm weaving, and it's something for my own home. So every time I sit down again, I'm going to see that and I'm going to remember I made that, which is pretty epic. And so, yeah, that is another thing that I feel like I do that is honoring my dedication to crafting a sacred space. Um, Something else, something actually I did yesterday that I feel like might inspire some of you, or also in something you could do. It costs literally nothing, except for your time, which again, if you're not getting that, the time is the thing. Like it's what you spend doing at home and finding things to enjoy doing at home. But this was one thing I did. I went in, I got into a rabbit hole. I realized that yes, me and Madeline had accumulated together and in our own time and our own pieces art that we weren't both like probably sure where they came from, who the original artists were, and I think this will be another video later down the road. I would love to talk about that specific thing is taking cultural reference in the home. But anyways, I was thinking about this specific topic and how I want to make a video about it later. And I realized looking around, I was like, I don't know the name of some of these artists. I don't necessarily know, if what their importance is and maybe their cultural references are. And so I started just deep diving and then I decided, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to make little like the little about tags that you see at museums for art. I'm going to make that for all of the art in our home. One conversation piece when people come over and they see them. One, either they also can see the name of the artist, where its date is from, maybe the cultural reference or what specific medium it is, because we have a mix of things. We have masks, we have scrolls, we have, I mean, this is cotton mole, this is a mole. And so, yeah, I feel like that would be a great conversation starter. And then it also allowed me the opportunity. I mean, I just think about the time that I spent doing that. I literally was sitting on my couch surrounded by all this art, researching where each of these pieces came from. And I feel like that is so important. Oh my gosh. It is so inspiring to actually learn the history, cultural reference, or the name of an artist. And in turn, I was thinking about my own art. I was like, oh my gosh, if I, you know, later down the road, I somebody has this piece of art, I obviously want them to enjoy it, but also what a I don't know what the right word is. What a heartwarming thought that somebody would know that it came from me. And I felt like I was honoring a part of myself in doing that for other people and for the artists who made the art around our home. And I learned some amazing stuff. Oh my god, I'm not going to go deep into it because then I will ramble about other things not pertaining specifically to this topic. But I learned some amazing stuff about some of these artists. I also learned that some of our prints slash I don't know if they're originals are from some renowned artists that I had never heard of before. And so, yeah, I thought that was really cool. I will share also a picture of that. I think that was really fun. And if you are somebody that has art hanging around, whether it's from your friend, from a renowned artist, wherever it's from, even if it's a textile, it doesn't have to be that you know the name of them. Like, create little about tags. It doesn't cost you any money. If you don't have a printer, that's fine. You can literally write it down. And then what I use is just some scotch tape, put it on the back, and just like I did with these, I just hung it next to the picture. I just hung it on the wall. If you're a renter, no nails. Looky there. I love a little rolling the tape on the back. It kind of makes you know what I'm talking about? You know that thing, you know that little thing where you just like roll the tape into like a I don't even know, a little funnel and then you put on the back and it creates like a double-sided tape basically. I love that because it almost makes it like a little pop up. It's like elevated from the wall if you do it right. And then also, if you use the like, there's a blue version of it, like the kind that people use for painting so that it doesn't rip up paint. If you use that, it will hang it and it won't go nowhere. I'm just telling you that. That's my secret tips and tricks. That low cost and allow you the opportunity to hang some more stuff. Love doing that. It costs you $0, but I highly recommend. So yeah. Let me look at my notes real quick because I feel like there was a few other things that I wanted to say, that were in my mind, and once I start rambling, those things start to exit, and I feel like some of them were important. Um, let's see. Okay, so this video could get really long, um, but I feel like it's good that I gave you a few pieces of how I'm actively crafting my intentional and sacred space. Um, but I wanted to also address you as someone who just like gets that, like, it's really hard to do that right now. I feel like, first and foremost, if you live in the United States, there's a lot of other things that are drawing our attention, politically. And I think just remember to take it one day at a time. It doesn't have to be fast. It can be slow. It can be at your own pace. And I'm totally here to support you through that. If you have any questions about or need ideas on how you can do it, like tell me about where your space looks like, where you live. Like you don't have to give me the specifics, but like, if you rent, if you have, how many square footage you have of it, like what are you living with? Like, how can I help you create that? One, without spending a lot of money, and two, well, honoring the things that you love. And so, yeah, just remember to take it slow. Another thing is that I wanted to address that is moving away from what I'm doing. I mean, it is a part of what I'm doing, but also I want to leave you with a thought piece as well. Is when you create your space at home, it doesn't matter what I've told you, any inspiration you might be getting from this video, whether it costed you money or not, I think the main thing you should remember is that if you feel out of place at your home, consider why that is, and maybe make a list. I want to leave you with this thought that it's okay to be influenced and to see things that you like, but your home is the space you have to come back to every day after work, where you sleep. And if you are filling your home with other things that people are telling you that you need to have, or that you just see and it created a small dopamine release that got you really pumped, so you bought it and you got it in your home, but then you never look at it ever again and you never find inspiration from it, you're going to start feeling out of place. I mean, I think it's really important to be intentional. I think this is where the intentionality plays a really big role, is when you look at something outside of the home and you decide to bring it into your space. Did you spend any time thinking about why it needed to be in your space? Because there are so many things out in the world that I see all the time that I just love. I love this. I love that. I like, if you go around with me anywhere, I don't shut up, if you can't tell. And I always point out all the things that I love all the time. But something I'm realizing is that just because I love something outside of the home does not mean it deserves a place in my sacred space. And damn, that's good. Oh, damn, that's good. I just like kind of came up with that just now, like as a saying. But it really doesn't. Consider that your space is so valuable. And as an artist, I think if you were making something, you also would be making you we all want to make something from the heart, right? Think about your space in that same way. As an artist, make it come from here. Why does, like, be intentional about it. It's okay if it's not perfect. It's okay if it changes later on. But in the moment, if it feels like it resonates with this, with your reasons, like for instance, I have, for financial reasons as well, I have a little bit of a list of things I ask myself about before I decide to buy things, or like before I decide to put them into the home. Like if something resonates with those things, go for it. Do it. change it later, flip it upside down, flip it and reverse it. I don't know. But I really want to leave that with you because I think the most important takeaway from this whole video is that your sacred space is what you decide is intentional for you. And I don't know if I'm saying it the best way, but it's also something that I feel about myself, and I want to share that. And I'm curious what you guys think about it as well, because just because something like hanging up pictures and or getting specific rugs or whatever, while that might be intentional and cultivating of a sacred space for me, it doesn't necessarily mean that is for other people. So I am really curious, like if there's something you wish you had in your home or something you do have in your home that makes your space feel like you and sacred and makes you want to come back. And I don't know, maybe this will be my last thing because I'm feeling pretty good about this. I recorded one other video to kind of get myself warmed up, and I was like, this isn't going anywhere. But this one, I'm feeling better about. Um, I think this is where I want to leave you. With one last thing. This also costs you zero monies. This costs you zero monies. Um, and is something that requires just a change of vocabulary. Start referring to where you live as home. Don't call it your apartment. Don't call it your house. Just start calling it home. Like, if you start thinking about your space as your home, you are creating a foundation. As someone who doesn't really have like a home base, a foundation necessarily, and we'll talk about, you'll hear this from me more later down the road, but I don't necessarily, I'm never really tied down by a place because I have moved around my whole life. And so for me, home is all about the things that I have cultivated around here. And I think that vocabulary is really, vocabulary. I think that vocabulary is really important for my mindset. And I feel like it could be for a lot of other people. Whether you live in 500 square feet, 1,000 square feet, 1,500, I don't fucking, whether you live in 500 square feet, 200,000 million square feet, lucky for you, doesn't matter. Call it your home. Home does not need to be a space that has a picket fence and a front yard. It literally is your energy in the space that you're in. And I think when you refer to it at home, you are paying respect to the space that you cultivate. So, thank you so much for coming. Hopefully me laying down was okay with y'all. Oh, enjoy my little peak show. My shoulder. Thank you so much again for your response to my last video. Hopefully this one is also refreshing. Actually, I did bring this thing that I am working on over here, and I wanted to share it because this is a crafting space, and I haven't, in the last video I didn't show anything I was working on, and this video is also not about what I'm like an active like work in progress, but I wanted to show you one of the things I'm weaving. I'm sorry I said I was going to leave you with something. If you only came for the yap and you don't care about this part, thank you for stopping by. I did actually have one more thing because I am from the South. Southern goodbyes are 30 minutes. I won't take you another 30 minutes, I promise. Anywho, I have never done a tapestry weave. I recently started weaving last year. Last year I started weaving, so recently. And the other day, actually, probably that's not true. Wow. Whew. Recently, I started weaving, and even more recently, I decided to take this board that I had paid for an art installation that I was going to do, and then I didn't end up getting to do it. So I just had this like wood panel with hinges on it laying around, and I finally decided to make myself like a little DIY tapestry loom. It has absolute crap tension. It doesn't really matter. I just wanted to get something going and trying all of the different weaving styles. And so, yeah, I want to share it. This is the piece that I'm considering selling once I'm done. And yeah, this is it. Please enjoy all the little sides hanging out. Um, I'm trying to get better lighting. So, featured here is a ton of different yarns. One I have used in some of the spots, like, where is it at? In this specific area, I've used some hand spun yarn. I also used my hand spun here, and the yellow isn't a hand spun, but this white fluff here is. Yeah, I don't know what I just started making it. I just started going with this first, and I realized it kind of felt like a little field with some water in it. And from there, I just started thinking about what clouds in the sky kind of felt like to me. And with no other rhyme or reason, I just started going with whatever's in my brain. And yeah, so I used a ton of different styles of like fastening the yarn to this weave. And then I'm a little bit weird and not weird. I'm a little bit crazy, and I decided that I'm going to finish the rest of this weave with this very fine lace yarn. And if you can, I don't know if you can see them very well, but I have also decided to add beads. I also am a beadist. I don't know if that's the correct word for it, but I do a lot of beadwork and I make jewelry. And I just want to start mixing some of my mediums together. So I added the beads to here, and I kind of have them like drooping. I don't know if this is probably a specific technique. I don't know where it comes from. I will try my best to figure it out, but I'm just leading with my own heart here, and that is what I came up with. So, yeah, let me know if you're interested. It's not done yet, but and I don't know what I'm going to sell it for, but this is a piece that I'm going to be selling, and I'm happy that I get to share it here. It's definitely really cute. Maybe I'll make this the thumbnail. Is this a thumbnail? Anyhow. Again, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope that you have a lovely day. Please like this video if this is content that you like. It really helps me for you to engage with it so that I know whether or not this is something that I should continue yapping on about, because I will just keep yapping if nobody says anything. So, and also again, I really want to engage. If you have any opinions about the things that I said, any questions, I'm full of ideas. If you couldn't tell, if you need any ideas, if you want a template for creating the little tags that I told you about for the photos in your home, I have one that I can share what I used anyways. And yeah, I'm so happy that I get to make another video. You get 2 from me in 1 month. Who am I? Um, ta-ta for now.